Welcome everyone. So we're gonna get started in Virasana, Hero's Pose. That's basically just sitting back on your feet, on your heels. If this doesn't feel right for you for any reason, whether it's knee pain or anything like that, you can either, if you have a prop like a bolster or a block, you can place that underneath your hips. Otherwise, if not, you can just come to a comfortable cross-legged position. I'm going to start in Virasana. Go ahead and close your eyes. Whatever positioning you have in your legs is totally fine. We're just going to start with a grounding practice. So sink your sit bones down. Stack your spine tall, drawing your crown of head up toward the sky, and shoulders roll down your back. Your hands can either be palms facing up or down on your lap. And start to tune into your breath. Notice where you feel your breath most. Is it right at your nostrils, or your chest, or your belly? Just take that in as information. Remember that your mat is a safe space. Try to practice non-judgment. Now start your Ujjayi breath, if you haven't already, by gently sealing your lips and breathing in and out through your nose while constricting at the base of your throat. This should produce a audible breath, kind of like an ocean wave. Breathe deeply into your belly, filling your belly all the way up, and then move that breath up into your chest and hold at the top. Then exhale, chest first, then belly. Squeezing every last drop of air out, holding your breath at the bottom. Then starting your inhale and that cycle all over again. Your breath really is the primary focus of your yoga practice. So as we begin to move, think about your breath informing your movement, not the other way around. So with each inhale, think about lengthening and expanding your body. And with every exhale, deepen and release. A few more breaths here, tuning into your body. Now, keeping your eyes closed if that's okay for you, start to drop your right ear to your right shoulder. If you'd like a deeper stretch along your left neck, you can bring your left fingertips to the ground and maybe even walk them away from your body. Send your breath to the point of tension along the left side of your neck and shoulder. Then inhale back up to center. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Maybe drop your right fingertips to the ground and walk them away from your body, intensifying the stretch. And then inhale back up through center. Drop your chin to your chest and start to rotate your neck to the right, then back behind you, then to the left and back to center. Go ahead and reverse the direction one time. To the left. And we'll meet in center. Chin comes parallel to the earth. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. On your inhale, sweep your arms overhead. On your exhale, draw your elbows down to the height of your shoulders for a cactus shape. Keep drawing your elbows behind you as you lift your chest forward. Then drop your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, and roll your shoulders down your back. Lifting your heart high. Maybe if it feels okay for your neck, you can even start to look up and even drop your head back behind you. Then inhale, come up to neutral. Extend your arms out to the side. On your exhale, wrap your right arm on top of left. You can either give yourself a big hug or double wrap your arms for Garandasana, eagle arms. In either case, you want your elbows high and your shoulders sinking down your back. On your inhale, mini back bend, drawing your elbows up higher as you look up. On your exhale, crunch it in, elbows toward your navel. Inhale, back up for your mini back bend. Exhale in, elbows toward navel, kind of like a cat-cow here. One more time on your own. And then on your next inhale, come back up to neutral. Arms extend to the side. Exhale, left arm on top of right this time, either hugging your body or double wrapping for Garandasana. We'll go through that same cat-cow stretch here. So inhale for your back bend. Exhale, crunch it in. 2 more times. Each time trying to get a little more length and expansion than the last. And then inhale, back up to neutral. Arms come overhead. On your exhale, gentle twist to the right. So left hand comes to the outside of your right thigh, and right hand reaches behind you, maybe to the floor. Crown of head tall to the sky. And then inhale, back through center. Arms come up. Exhale, twist to the left. Outside of your right hand comes to your left thigh this time. Left fingertips behind you. Keep pressing your sit bones into the ground, lifting your crown of head high, and twist a little deeper on your exhale. And then inhale, back through center. On your exhale, come to all fours, tabletop position. So your wrists are planted directly underneath your shoulders and your knees are directly underneath your hips, tops of feet planted on the mat. On your inhale, sink into your left hand and reach your right arm up to the sky. Look up at your right fingertips. Exhale, thread your arm underneath your body, coming down to your right cheek. Your left arm can either straighten out in front of you, or maybe you take your hand around the small of your back and hook it onto your right thigh. Opening up our shoulders here. Make sure your left hip doesn't pop out to the side and up. Try to scoot it back in line with your right hip. Go ahead and replant your left hand. Inhale your right arm back up. Exhale, tabletop position. Weight is in your right hand this time. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Look up at your fingers. Then exhale, thread it underneath your body, coming down to your left cheek. Right arm can extend long in front of you or come around the small of your back and hook onto your left thigh. Make sure you're drawing your right hip back in line with the left. Replant your right palm. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. And exhale, tabletop. Keeping your hips directly over your knees, walk your hands forward for puppy pose. Sinking your chest down to the mat. Maybe your forehead or chin rest on the mat. Breathe into your shoulders and your chest. If you'd like a deeper stretch, you can come up onto your fingertips to create more space for your chest to sink down. Or if you have blocks or other props, you can place your hands on that. On your inhale, come back up to tabletop position. Start to transfer your weight into your left hand and reach your right arm straight ahead of you, like you're shaking someone's hand. Make sure you're not sinking into your shoulders or your back here. You want to keep a neutral spine by sucking your navel up toward your spine and tailbone is long behind you. If you're okay here, extend your right foot back behind you. Your foot should be at about the height of your hip. Keep looking straight down below you. Then on your exhale, draw your left knee to your left elbow as you draw your right shoulder into a cactus shape. Then inhale back to center, go for length. Exhale to the side. Inhale for length. One more time, exhale that lateral motion. Inhale for length. This time we're going straight down the center, so knee toward elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. One more time on your own. And if this is too much for you, you can plant your left knee on the mat and just do the arm motion. Then tabletop position on your exhale. Weight comes into your right hand this time. Inhale your left fingertips in front of you like you're shaking someone's hand. Make sure you're still sucking that navel in, tailbone long. Then either stay here with both knees on the ground or you can extend your right leg back, foot comes to the height of your hip. On your exhale, lateral motion. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the side. Inhale to center, one more time. Exhale, lateral motion. Inhale back through center. This time straight down the middle, knee toward elbow. Inhale, center. Exhale, knee to elbow. Really contracting your abdominals as you do this. Last time on your own breath. Go for extension here, and then tabletop position. Curl your toes under, lift your hips for downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Feel free to move organically here, maybe pedal into your heels or sway your hips side to side. Whatever feels good for you and your body today. Then eventually we'll settle into stillness. Make sure your hands are planted firmly in the mat, gripping into the pads of your fingertips. External rotation at your shoulders so that your triceps hug in toward the midline. Your drishti point of focus is traditionally up at your belly button, but can also be anywhere between your legs. Chest is sinking down toward your thighs. Inner thighs spinning back behind you. It's okay if your knees are bent here, if that's more comfortable for you. We're working our heels toward the earth, but it's okay if they don't touch. What you really want is a long line of energy from your fingertips to your hips, and then your hips down to your heels. On your inhale, snake forward into plank pose. Setting up our first plank, you want your shoulders directly above your wrists. Fingers spread wide, pointer fingers pointing forward. Hips in line with the rest of your body. Posterior tuck of your pelvis. Navel up to your spine, heels pressing back. Then on your exhale, engage your deep low abs to lift your hips back to downward facing dog. We'll do that 2 more times. Shift forward into plank pose, slow and with control. Then exhale, shift back, downward facing dog. 1 more time on your own breath. Remember that slow and controlled movements build strength. Try to take momentum out of the equation. Then on your inhale, lift your right foot up behind you. Flex your foot like you're stepping on the back wall. Then exhale, slow and controlled, knee comes forward between your, or if your foot comes forward between your hands, left knee down to the mat. Inhale, arms up to the sky, Anjaneyasana. So you want your right knee directly above your right ankle, sinking deeply into your hips. Shoulders draw down your back. Then on your exhale, cactus your arms. Elbows come down to the height of your shoulders and back behind you while you lift your heart forward. And then exhale, hands plant around your foot. Shift your hips back for half splits. Make sure your right hip is pulling back in line with the left. Your right toes can remain planted on the floor or flex them up to the ceiling. Try to maintain a flat back here. The tendency is to round, but really you want spinal extension, shoulders back, heart forward. Then come forward to all fours, tabletop position, keeping your elbows close to your body. On your exhale, drop your chest and chin to the mat, coming onto your belly. Hands are back by your ribs, elbows are hugging in, tops of feet plant on the mat. Then inhale for cobra pose. Heart forward, shoulders back, remain light on your fingertips. Then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up behind you. Really press through your left heel. And then on your exhale, draw your foot forward between your hands. Right knee plants on the mat. Untuck your toes. Inhale up, Anjaneyasana. Your knees stacked on top of ankles, sinking deeply in your hips. Then exhale, cactus your arms. Pull your heart forward. Plant your hands on either side of your foot. Shift your hips back for half splits. Remember to pull your left hip back in line with the right and maintain that flat back in order to really activate the stretch along the back of your left leg. Then come forward to all fours. Once again, hugging your elbows close to your body. Drop chest and chin to the mat. Slither onto your belly. Then inhale for cobra pose. Heart forward, shoulders back. It's all about length here. Height is not important. Then exhale, downward facing dog. On your inhale, look between your hands. On your exhale, walk to the top of your mat, meeting in a forward fold. Slightly bend your knees and roll to standing on your inhale. Head is the last to lift. Meeting at the top of the mat in Tadasana. Big toes touching, small space between your heels. Posterior tuck of your pelvis so that your tailbone hangs down toward the ground. Navel back toward your spine. Shoulders draw down your back. Chin is parallel to the mat. On your inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, look up and reach up. On your exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. On your inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. So bring your hands either to the floor, a block, or anywhere on your legs. The important thing here is that we maintain a long, flat spine. So tailbone presses back behind you, crown of head and heart pull forward. Make sure not to overextend your chin. Tuck it in so that you're looking directly down below you. Then exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank. Go through your vinyasa, so you can either keep knees, chest, chin to cobra, or if you're ready for chaturanga to upward facing dog, please feel free to go there. We'll all meet in downward facing dog for 3 breaths. This is a good time to come back to your Ujjayi breath if you've lost it. Remember, you want to have your breath be primary and your movement be secondary. On your inhale, look between your hands. On your exhale, walk or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, folds. Inhale, come up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll go through Surya Namaskara A 2 more times. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale through your vinyasa, either hop or step back to plank through chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin to cobra and up dog. Exhale, everyone meets in downward facing dog. Remember, you can always skip vinyasas as well. This is your practice. Our bodies change day to day, and it's good to respect that. Inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, make your way to the top of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale brings you up to standing Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to right center. One more time, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale through your vinyasa or skip it. You can always go straight to down dog from plank. This time on your next inhale, shift forward to plank pose. Either drop your knees to the ground or not. We're going to make our way to our bellies. Awesome. Untuck your toes so that the tops of your feet are flat on the mat. And then bring your elbows directly underneath your shoulders for Sphinx pose. You want your fingers spread wide. Point your fingers pointing forward. Really press your palms and your forearms into the mat and have the feeling of dragging them back toward your body without actually moving them. This will really fire up your shoulders. Draw your shoulders down your back and lift your heart forward. Press your hips and tops of feet into the mat and lift your belly button off the mat up toward your spine. Sphinx is one of those poses that seems kind of easy, right? Like, oh, we're just laying here. But if you're doing it right, if you're engaging all the right muscles, it's actually quite a lot of work. Now, keeping this shape or this engagement in your shoulders and your chest, curl your toes under and pop up to forearm plank. Now, you can also be on your knees here if that's where you are today, totally fine. Otherwise, we'll hang out in forearm plank. You want a long straight line, just like in your normal plank, but on your forearms. So posterior tuck of your pelvis, navel sucks up toward your spine, heels press back behind you, crown of head draws forward. Really important here, make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Common mistake I see is people's elbows splay out to the side. Try to have your arms like the number 11. And if you'd rather have your hands clasped with like this inverted V in your arms, that's totally fine as well. Just either way, make sure your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. You can either stay in your forearm plank here or move with me. We'll inhale our right foot up just a few inches to the height of your hip. On your exhale, slight external rotation of your hip as you bring your knee toward your right elbow. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't, no big deal. Inhale back, exhale, knee toward elbow. Inhale back, exhale, knee toward elbow. Inhale back, set your right foot down. Inhale, left foot off the mat. Exhale, knee toward elbow. Inhale back, exhale forward. One more here. Inhale back, then replace your foot. Now walk your feet in for dolphin pose. So this is basically like downward facing dog, but on your forearms. Just like in down dog, the important thing here is the spinal extension and your hips high to the sky. If you want to have your knees bent, if that's more comfortable for you, totally fine. Once again, make sure your elbows are directly under your shoulders or at shoulder width. Don't let them splay out to the side. Now you can either stay in this static hold or do some dolphin push-ups with me by inhaling forward onto your tiptoes. Exhale, heels down toward the mat. Inhale forward, exhale, heels down. Couple more times on your own breath. So strong, everyone. Now hold dolphin here. And on your exhale, drop your knees to the mat, child's pose. Knees can either be wide to the edges of the mat with the big toes touching, or you can have your legs zipped up together, just like in Virasana at the beginning of class. Forehead comes toward the mat. If you want a little break on your shoulders, you can draw your hands back behind you by your feet for the traditional variation of Balasana, child's pose. Come back to your breath here, allowing your body and your breath to resync. And then stretch your arms out in front of you if they're not there already. Curl your toes and lift your hips for downward facing dog. On your inhale, look between your hands, and on your exhale, make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Reach up and look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale for chair pose, Utkatasana. So drop your hips back. Look down, make sure you can see all of your toes. If not, shift your knees back in space. Once again, we want a posterior tuck of the pelvis. So oftentimes people come up with their booty sticking out. Try to tuck your tailbone under so that you have a long, flat spine, protecting your low back. Shoulder blades draw down your back. Sink low in your hips. Then exhale, fold over your legs and straighten them. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your hands, go through your vinyasa or skip it. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Inhale your right foot up behind you. On your exhale, draw your foot forward by your right hand. Left foot down at a 45-degree angle for warrior one on your inhale. Virabhadrasana 1, you want your right knee stacked on top of your right ankle. Press a lot through the outer edge of your left foot and square your hips toward the front of the mat. So maybe even bring your left hand toward your left hip and draw it forward. Then release your arms up to the sky. Once again, posterior tilt in your pelvis to protect your low back. If you tuck your pelvis, you might feel your left hip flexor fire up. Then on your exhale, clasp your hands behind your back, roll your shoulders down and look up on your inhale. On your exhale, fold forward for humble warrior. Allow your arms and hands to gently draw over your back. The tendency here to, I'm so tongue-tied today. The tendency is to let your right hip pop out to the side, but try to draw it back in line with the left hip. Crown of head comes toward the floor. On your inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. So you'll have to shift your feet so that you have front heel, back arch alignment. Your left foot is parallel with the short end of your mat. Right knee is stacked on top of right hip. Shoulders are stacked on top of hips. Hips scoot underneath your body. Drishti, point of focus, is over your right fingertips. And then on your inhale, come forward with your right forearm on right thigh. Left arm comes to, actually let's do this. Bring your hand to the back of your neck, your left hand to the back of your neck, so that your elbow points up toward the sky. Maintain a light pressure between your forearm and thigh. You don't want to sink into it. So draw your right shoulder down your back away from your ear. On your exhale, we're going to square our chest off to the mat, bringing our left elbow toward the mat. Then inhale, open it up. Maybe even press your head back behind you. So we'll do that 2 more times. So exhale, curl it in. Elbow comes toward the mat. Inhale up, baby back bend at the top. 1 more time, trying to get a little more length this time on the way up. Inhale here, elbow draws up toward the sky, maybe even back behind you. Then release your hand overhead. Pinky finger comes down toward the mat. If you have a bind here in extended side angle pose, feel free to take it, but only take it if you do not compromise the opening of your chest. Then go ahead and plant your left hand on the ground, pop onto your left toes, right arm up to the sky for an easy twist. Now, either dropping your left knee to the mat or not, we're shifting back to Vashisthasana side plank. So right foot comes on top of left, either both legs are extended or your left shin is down on the mat. Either way is perfectly fine. You're still building strength. Remember to honor your body and be proud of your choices. Hips high to the sky. Keep rolling your right hip on top of the left. Then exhale, right hand to the mat. Challenge here to keep your right leg lifted as you go through your vinyasa. Set your foot down for your back bend. And then exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale your left foot up behind you. Exhale, step it forward for warrior 1 on your inhale. Remember, we're working square closed hips here, so left hip back, right hip forward. Commit to the bend, the 90-degree bend in your left knee. Press a lot through the outer edge of your right foot. And then on your exhale, draw your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. Inhale, heart forward and up. Exhale, dive forward for humble warrior. Allowing your arms to come overhead naturally. Make sure your left hip isn't popping out to the side. Draw it back to the midline. Crown of head is drawing toward the floor. Then inhale, release your hands, come up to warrior 1. Exhale, warrior 2. Shifting your feet so that your right foot is parallel with the short end of your mat. And you have front heel back arch alignment. The tendency is to draw forward, but try to keep your shoulders stacked on top of your hips. Your hips are scooting underneath you. Make sure your left knee is not collapsing inward. Try to press it out to the pinky side of your foot. Then on your inhale, draw your left arm forward, set it gently on your thigh, and bring your right hand to the back of your neck. On your exhale, close your shoulders down toward the mat. Inhale, extend, elbow up toward the sky. Exhale, draw your chest down toward the mat. Inhale, open it up. 1 more time on your own breath. Really working our shoulder rotation here. Really lean your head back into your palm. Then release your hand overhead. Pinky comes toward the ground. Make sure you're not sinking into your left shoulder. Draw your left shoulder down your back, creating some space along your neck. If you'd like to drop your fingertips to the ground or take your bind if you have it, those are options as well. On your next exhale, swing your right arm to the mat. Come onto your right toes, left hand up to the sky for an easy twist. If it's okay on your neck, you can look up at your left fingertips. Shifting back to Vashisthasana, so maybe you drop your right shin to the ground and swing your left leg back behind you, or maybe you keep both legs straight. Both are great options. Both are building strength. Both are yoga. Keep lifting those hips high and spinning your left hip on top. Then on your exhale, left hand comes to the mat. Maybe you keep your left foot lifted as you go through your chaturanga. Set it down for your back bend. Then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. Either dropping your knees or not, we'll slowly make our way to our belly. Once you get there, untuck your toes so that the tops of your feet are planting in the mat. Bring your fingertips to the outsides of your mat and come up onto your fingertips. On your inhale, snake your spine up so that you're in this exaggerated cobra pose. On your exhale, drop your right shoulder down toward the mat. Inhale, back up to center. Exhale, left shoulder drops to the mat. Inhale through center. Do a couple more on your own. I'll face you this way so you can see what it looks like. I always imagine this is like how a zombie comes out of their grave. Should feel really nice on the front of your shoulders and your pecs, especially after all those chaturangas. Awesome. Now release down to your chest and belly. Either your forehead or your chin can come to rest on the mat. Hands come back by your hips, palms plant in the mat. Remember, tops of feet and hips are planted in the mat here. Belly button sucks up towards your spine so that maybe even your belly lifts off the mat. Then on your inhale, lift your shoulders and chest off the mat and your hands reach back behind you, but still keep your feet and legs planted in the mat for a variation of locust. We'll hold this for a few breaths. And then exhale, slowly come back down. On your next inhale, come up again. Head, shoulders, chest lift off the mat. This time bring your feet and legs up off the mat as well. Really going for length here. All the way from the crown of your head to your tiptoes, down through your fingers. Height is not as important as spinal extension here. And then exhale, come to rest. Either on your forehead or one cheek or the other. This time, bend your knees, contract your hamstrings to bring your feet close to your booty. And then on your inhale, lift your chest and arms once again. Everyone reach back toward your ankles. And if you can make contact with your hands to your ankles or your feet, go ahead and do it and come up into Dhanurasana. Otherwise, you can still keep the same shape without actually making the contact. If you are in Dhanurasana, really press your feet back into your hands in order to stretch through your front body. And then exhale, release to the mat. Maybe sway your hips side to side to release any tension in your low back. And then press back to child's pose. Knees are either wide or together, big toes touching, arms stretching forward. Hips sink down toward your heels, chest sinks down to the mat. Reset your breath. And then start to walk your hands back toward your knees and come up to Virasana, sitting on your heels, just like how we started class. Then come up to your knees, so you're in this kneeling position. Go ahead and tuck your toes under. We're all gonna start in this position. Going for one of several variations of Ustrasana, camel pose. So first, very important, posterior tuck of your pelvis. Okay, you want your belly button back toward your spine, your abs engaged, your hips and glutes engaged. When you come up into Ustrasana with an anterior tuck of your pelvis, that can really hurt your low back. So maintain that posterior tuck of your pelvis, tailbone is down toward the mat, abs are engaged, belly button is back toward your spine. We'll all start by rolling our shoulders back and placing our hands to our low back, fingers facing down. Once again, engage your hips and pelvis, internal rotation of your hips. So as if you had a block between your hips that you were trying not to drop. All right, we'll all stay here and maybe start to press our hips forward as we drop our shoulders back. Maybe this is where you're at today, and that's totally great. You stay where, go only as comfortable, ooh, wow, so tongue-tied today. Only go as far back as you feel comfortable. Otherwise, if you know Ustrasana is in your practice and you're feeling kind of bendy, you can drop both hands to your heels. Options here, you can continue to look forward, or if it's okay for your neck, you can drop your head all the way back. Few breaths here. What's really important, wherever you are, is that you keep rolling your shoulders back, lifting your heart up. Big back bend. Then go ahead and start to bring your hands back to your low back and realign back to center. Untuck your toes, sit down into Virasana. Give yourself a few breaths here. Deep back bends like camel can produce a lot of feelings, especially in our chest and belly area. So just sit with that, let it all come. Don't get attached to any of those feelings or thoughts. Okay, now go ahead and bring the back of your left hand to your lower back so that your elbow is sticking out to the side. Then bring your right hand to your left tricep and start to guide your elbow forward. Just stretching the back of our shoulders, our scapula. This can get to be kind of acute, so don't push it. Be gentle with yourself here and only go to your edge. Then go ahead and release. We'll do the other side now. Back of right hand comes to your low back. Left hand grabs your right tricep and guide your elbow forward. Go slowly here. Be gentle with yourself. And release. Come to your seat. Plant your right foot on the mat and extend your left leg long. So your ankle is directly under your right knee. Flex your left foot a lot, really press through your left heel. Then inhale, arms up to the sky, go for length. Exhale, twist to the right. Right hand comes to the ground behind you. Left arm can either hug your right thigh, or you can bring your elbow between your thigh and torso. Wherever you are, keep planting your sit bones into the mat, lifting your crown of head high, and twisting a little deeper on your exhale. Then inhale back through center. We'll switch legs. Left foot plants this time, right foot is flexed. Inhale for length, arms up to the sky. Then exhale, twist, either hugging your left thigh or elbow between thigh and torso. Try to maintain a long spine here. Lengthen up toward the sky on your inhales and twist a little deeper on your exhales. Then inhale back through center, both legs long this time. Try to scoot the fleshy part out from underneath your seat so that you're really grounded through your sit bones. Flex your feet a lot so that maybe even your heels lift off the mat. Inhale for length. Then exhale, forward fold, leading with your chest, trying to maintain that flat back the whole way down. And then once you've reached your edge, you can drop your head and neck to release any tension in your neck. So the tendency is to kind of round forward here. Really try to draw your shoulders back, chest forward to maintain that flat back. And if you have any low back pain here, please try bending your knees. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Then inhale back up to Dandasana, staff pose. Plant your hands a couple inches behind your hips, fingers facing your feet. Some of us will keep our legs long for reverse plank, or maybe you plant your feet, lift your hips up for reverse tabletop. So your ankles are directly underneath your knees, your wrists are underneath your shoulders. You can either look up at the ceiling or drop your head back behind you. So you're either there in reverse tabletop or reverse plank with your legs extended. Either way, your hips are high, your shoulders are rolling down your back. You're trying to lift your heart above your shoulders. Then exhale, sit back down. Plant your feet and slowly make your way to your back. Weight comes into your left foot. Draw your right ankle over your left thigh for a reclined pigeon. You can either stay here and press your right thigh away from you with your hand, or if you want a deeper stretch, you can pick your left foot off the mat, clasp your hands around your left leg, and draw your legs closer to your body. Either stay here in a static hold, or I prefer to explore some movement by dropping my legs to one side, feeling it out, and then dropping them over to the other side. And there are several muscles along our hips and glutes, so it's just nice to explore some movement and feel where you're really tight. Now drop your left foot to the mat and continue to cross your right leg over left so that your knees are stacked. Bring your arms out to a T or maybe a cactus shape if you don't have a lot of space. And then drop your legs to the left. For a twist, make sure that your right shoulder remains planted in the mat. Maybe you even need to pick your left shoulder off the mat and twist your upper body to the right to get a little more space. Drishti, point of focus, can come over your right shoulder if that's okay on your neck. And your left hand can come to your right thigh if you'd like a little extra downward pressure to the left side. Then inhale back to center, uncross your legs, plant your feet. Left ankle comes on top of right thigh this time for that reclined pigeon. Either staying here or lift your right foot off the mat and clasp your hands around your legs. Drawing them closer to your body, even using your left elbow to press your left thigh away from you. Either hold here or explore some movement by slowly shifting your hips side to side and stopping at any points of tension. Then plant your right foot on the mat. Go ahead and cross your left thigh over the right. Hands come out to your T or cactus shape. And on your exhale, drop your legs to the right. Make sure your left shoulder remains planted in the mat. Drishti can come over your left shoulder if it's okay on your neck. If you'd like the extra intensification, you can bring your right hand to your left thigh and gently guide them closer to the earth. Inhale back to center, both feet plant on the mat. And then bring your feet up to the sky for happy baby. So either grab the outside edges of your feet or maybe the backs of your thighs. You really want to maintain your tailbone down toward the mat. So if in order to grab your feet, your tailbone lifts like this, maybe try hooking onto the backs of your thighs instead. If you'd like to sway side to side or straighten one or both legs, feel free to move here like a happy baby. For a few more breaths. gather your knees to your chest. Lift your head and shoulders off the mat. Give your legs a big hug, maybe even forehead touches knees. Squeeze yourself into a tight little ball. Then on your exhale, release into Shavasana. Traditionally, legs and arms are extended toward the front of your mat, but do what you need to do to get comfortable here. Maybe that's placing a bolster or a rolled up blanket underneath your knees. Wherever you are, take a moment to roll your shoulders underneath your back, creating some space behind your heart. Close your eyes if you haven't already. Release your breath control, allowing it to revert back to its normal state. Try to release all the muscular engagement from your body, any last bit of tension, either physical or mental. Just let it melt away. Find comfort in the earth underneath you supporting you, and allow gravity to take over. Release the space between your eyebrows. Release any tension in your jaw. Allow your tongue and your eyeballs to slip back into the skull. Allow your shoulders to melt into the mat. Release any tension in your belly. Letting your hip bones naturally fall apart. Allow your knees and your toes to flare off to the side. Total relaxation. It's normal for thoughts to come up. They'll always be there. But meditation comes when we practice non-attachment with those thoughts. So just like as if you were laying in a field of grass, looking up at the clouds passing, and when a thought arises, maybe label it, and then let it go. Eventually, the space between those thoughts will get longer and longer. But be gentle with yourself in this process. No judgment. Start to invite deeper breaths into your body. Sending that breath down to your fingers and toes, igniting some small movements. Maybe take a full body stretch by bringing your arms overhead, reaching back behind you as you press your toes forward. And then on your own time, make your way to one side or the other. enjoying these last few moments of stillness. And then keeping your eyes closed if that's comfortable for you, come up to a seated position, whatever is comfortable for you. Root your sit bones down into the mat, draw your crown of head tall, roll your shoulders down your back. On your inhale, sweep your arms overhead, palms touch. On your exhale, bring your hands to heart center, slight tuck of your chin for devotion. Thank yourself for showing up today, and thank your body for allowing you to do this work. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me, everyone, and getting through my verbal issues today. I know we had a little issue with Instagram. Sorry about that. I hope you guys all enjoyed the class, though, and I'll see you soon.